I think it's time for Jane to answer a question, so this is one addressed to her about your mora counting.
Oh yes, the mora counting. Okay, first of all, the question says to Professor Setter, I wonder why geng was described as one mora, whereas san as two in Gen Kotsuyama no Tanuki-san. Aren't both of these the case of two moras? Well, yes and no. As far as well, first of all, it's not my analysis, it's actually the analysis of the music. It goes gen kotsuyama no, it doesn't go gen kotsu. So we find that the music itself is only providing one note, one beat for both of those mora, both of those. But for the end of it, we've got san, we've got it actually separated into two. So it's not my personal distinction, it's actually what the music does. Does anyone want to disagree with that? No. So first of all, it's not my analysis, but I think what I said is certainly true. Japanese people perceive the mora as an important unit of timing. It's perceived as an important unit. And if you hear something as a unit of timing, if you perceive it as such, then it is important. It's important to you. Another question I had concerning this is, you said they've been proven not to exist. Well, that's not really what I said. The point is that units of timing that we've been talking about, like moras and syllables, if you've got a syllable time language, if you've got a stress time language, the units of timing are taken to be the mora or the syllable or between stresses as being regular. And the instrumental studies have shown that when speakers produce speech, all kinds of speech, Japanese speech, syllable time speech and stress-based speech, it's actually been shown that there's not this regularity, that English stress syllables don't all fall on a beat like this, because if they did, it would sound rather silly. So we don't speak like that. As I demonstrated, we don't go around talking like rap artists. We don't do that. For it to be regular, we'd have to sound more like that kind of thing. So instrumental studies have shown that this regularity is not as regular, there's my diphthong, regularity, is not as regular as people perceive it to be. But because people perceive it to be regular, that's what makes it important. That's what people listen for. So the analysis in the song, we've actually, the question is whether Japanese is analysable in terms of syllables or whether you have to analyse it in terms of mori. And there are different mori or moras, there are different approaches to this. Some people say, well, you can look at it from syllable structure, because you can do that. You can say if you've got a mora nasal, it ends a syllable. You can do that. Or you can look at it by saying, well, this mora nasal is a separate unit of timing in its own right. You can do that too. And there's question over which is the best approach. But ultimately, if Japanese people think that moras are important, then you have to address that when you're learning Japanese. You have to understand that that's important. So it's not my analysis, it's just how the song works. Okay.
Well, let me add something. Well, I don't claim to be a specialist on Japanese dialects, but those people, those phonologists who are working on Japanese dialects seem to think that we have to talk about dialectal differences. We can't talk of, the Japanese language. They say that Tokyo dialect, for instance, relies on syllable structure, whereas the dialect in the Kansai area uses both syllable structure and mora structure. And in your dialect, which I don't remember, I don't remember the name of the dialect. In that dialect, it's only mora structure that counts. So we have to, we have mixture of different structures in different dialects.
Yes.
It's extremely complicated. Business.
Yes, it is complicated. Yes.
The fact that moraic nasals and moraic obstruents can't begin a word also seems to me to be relevant, because that is syllable-like behaviour. You can express this easily in terms of syllables. They're found at the ends of syllables. You can't explain it easily if you don't have any unit between the mora and the word or something. So I feel in order to account for the facts of Japanese as I understand them, you do need to make reference to a syllable as well as to a mora. Yeah.
For this particular song, I think you have to differentiate between the nasal at the even numbered position and odd numbered position. Because again, the first nasal happens on the second syllable, and the 4 units, larger units, and gen koto no tanuki sa begins another group, so it can't stand on its own. So if you have even numbered words, and then you have an N at the end, then it can stand on its own. So
Yes, this example is given in the textbook that I was reading, I think to demonstrate,
yeah, this is exactly true.
yes, that it can be either the end of a syllable or it can be seen as a unit in its own right, which is still at the end of a syllable in some ways of looking at it. It was just that particular example was quite nice because it had both examples. But I don't know anything about Japanese song structure, so I can't really comment on that. I do know that as far as the haiku is concerned, from that I believe that there's no instances where a mora nasal or a mora consonant would be included in a syllable. From what I understand about that, if you have a haiku, it's always a separate thing. There's no two ways about
It's
it.
mora based, isn't it?
Yes, it's mora based. So, I mean, this again argues to the psychological reality of moras for Japanese speakers.